Guys, welcome back to our weekly Sorare meeting. First item on the agenda, naming these new competitions. Any ideas? How about
Kickoff.
don't we already have the competition called Kickoff? Look, we don't have time for this. We've already got 37 other things on our roadmap that we're trying to announce. Move it along. We can move a few things around. Okay, now we need to differentiate the paid version of the game from the free-to-play version of the game. So what could we call that? How about Pro? But we already have Rare Pro. Okay, item number 2. There's a guy on Twitter whose life we're specifically trying to ruin. Has anyone been in touch with Opta to make sure that we remove those points and just to ensure that he misses the threshold? On it. Fuck that guy. Okay, jersey drops. We've got a hot demand for these guys. What do we got coming up next? Well, we have a Bundesliga jersey drop coming out tomorrow, and our research tells us that we have about 30,000 managers who want one.
The only issue is we only have 2 jerseys to give away. Yeah, we already sent them to John Nellis.
So everyone's just logging on to buy jerseys that don't exist.
Pretty much, yeah. We could just blame it on their internet speed.
Lol. Okay, just quickly. So we're at MLB. How are we looking? How are our numbers looking this year? Really good, sir. Really good. We've actually doubled our numbers from last year. Get out. I don't believe it. Yep, we have. Have a look at this graph. Go Red Sox. Okay, guys. Final item on the agenda. It's a big one. The A-League. Now, look, we've had the rights to launch this for months. So what's going on? It's the best league in the world. What's the holdup?
It's those Sorare DownUnder guys. Those bastards.
We're worried that from an optics point of view, it looks really bad. People hate those guys, and if it looks like we've caved to their demands, it's terrible for our brand. They've been going on about it for months. A-League this, A-League that, Nicholas, blah, blah, blah.
Where? Blah, blah, blah.
Nah, nah, nah.
Where?
Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, we just really don't want to have to give in to their demands.
Never negotiate with the terrorists.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, no, I hate those pricks. Nah, call the A-League. Tell them it's off. Tell Jamie McLaren if he wants the So Rare card, he can move to Antelect like everyone else.
G'day, mates. It's a big one, Alistair. This has been quite the week in the Sorare world. After a couple of quiet weeks, just things bubbling away at the surface, all of a sudden, the tsunami waves have hit. Twitter's ablaze. You're getting in fights with people on Twitter. I'm just here making some funny videos going, haha, how good's Sorare? It's good fun. And then, you're getting in back and forth tennis matches, abusing each other. I mean, it's great. There's a lot to talk about. The new update, we're very excited to talk about it on the podcast. For once, an update happened right before we're about to record, which is actually quite nice for a change. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. Let's dive all into that in depth in a little bit. But do you want to fill us in a little bit about how your weekend went? Let's get the pleasantries out of the way.
The pleasantries. I don't really want to talk about Sorare.
I don't even want to be around anymore.
What?
I'm running into the, probably quite foreseeable issue of a lot of my players are now injured or, benched or otherwise, off season, a lot of MLS players and stuff like that. And I'm realizing that my gallery is pretty thin. And turns out when you've got an area in your super rare only gallery that needs filling, that's not the easiest thing to do. You can't just quickly move a few pieces and bring someone in. You've really got to think long and hard about what you're going to do. So I'm in a bit of a phase of I don't know. I'm in trouble at the moment. So the less we can talk about Sorare, the better. Obviously on your side of things, you had it all in front of you. Luton Town, easiest fixture of the weekend for Liverpool. Battled out a 1-1 draw, pretty shocking.
Yeah, and it was devastating actually, Alistair, because as I said last week, I was off the grid for all of last weekend, and I went, you know what, I'm going to have 2 days off my phone, complete cleanse, just, enjoy the nature, go for some river swims.
I love my little apartment, but God, I need to get out here at least once every 3 months just to breathe, Mark.
Eat some sausages on a fire, all that kind of thing. And I was like, all right, I'm staying off everything, and I'm going to wait till I get back to civilization, and I'm going to watch soccer. And as I was looking forward to it all weekend, I watched 3 games. Ulster. Simon of 6 months ago, geez, I've come a long way. I can tell you a lot of things about a lot of shit now, but
I've seen everything. I've seen it all.
No, so I watched the Liverpool game, and at the moment, like, the Liverpool backline is racking up AA. Like, Allison was scoring really well, Virgil was scoring really well, but of course, that bloody one conceded goal, and I think it cost me about 60 points across my lineup. And with Rodri hitting 90, I captained him. I backed myself. I captained him, which was the right call. And then obviously, that Chelsea-Tottenham game was an absolute shit show. But had they not conceded, I would have, I finished in like a tier 3 or something along that. So a tale of oh so close, unfortunately.
There's nothing worse, is it, when you've got a forward who's playing and they go a man down, especially early on, and you're like, well, that's me done. I had that this morning with Gustavo Bo. I was praying that, like I said, I've got some injuries, especially up front. I was praying that New England would beat Philly to take it to a 3rd game, so I'd just get that extra weekend of utility out of Gustavo Bo. No, went down a man early on, pretty soft red in my opinion, and I was like, he's not going to see the ball for the rest of the game, and they're probably going to lose, and sure enough, they did. Disappointed! So, nightmare.
Yeah, I got to say, I don't know if you've ever done this in your phone, but you can actually do so your notifications. They don't come up unless you put your Face ID for it to actually see what the notification is. So I've got that on my phone. So what I get is I get a Sorare data notification, but I don't actually know what it is. Now, so heading into the City game, I knew that I had 3 decisives or three of something, but I didn't know what it was. And I must say, it's actually quite a fun way, because I was trying to work out, okay, maybe Rodri got a double decisive, and then there's must have got a decisive somewhere else, or is there a negative decisive and a positive decisive? Quite an interesting way for the, we're talking about whether you want to get your results all at once. I didn't mind that. I knew that there was something to look forward to throughout the game, but I just didn't know what it was. It was quite good.
I don't mind that, actually, because, obviously there's the very real chance that it's something bad. It's a penalty conceded. It's a nasty foul. He's been sent off. I might try that. So you see that you've got a notification from Sorare, because the ding that my phone makes, it makes for quite a few other apps as well. So it's not like, a ding, I know that something's happened. It could be, my mail has arrived. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to try that this weekend.
Yeah, because you just, as long as you don't put your Face ID to see it, and you can just swipe it away after that, then you know that it's worth you sitting down for 90 minutes to watch the game. And especially if you're watching a game where, apart from your Sorare player, you wouldn't necessarily care. Mm-hmm. You know that something happens, good or bad, especially if you've got a goalie, because that could be your conceded goal.
Yep, true. Now, are these your Sorare data notifications or the Sorare app notifications?
Sorare data.
Okay, because I've got a lot of player alerts and stuff that might throw that out, but I could try it with the Sorare.
But I did get done because I was I got 3 notifications. I can't remember what the second one was. The first one was for Rodri's assist, and then the other one was for my common card Lee Chan or whatever his name is from Wolves. And I was like, oh, well,
Yeah, you got to turn the notifications off for that. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I do play a similar game in that I wake up in the middle of the night and check my phone. And because my phone's in sleep mode, it says whilst you're in sleep mode, you got notifications from these things. And obviously the game's already happened because I've, been asleep, and I wake up. And the worst thing is when you see nothing. You got no notifications. It's like, oh, nothing happened. Okay, great. And then, every now and then I'll have it you have 7 notifications from Sorare. I'm like, ooh, let's see what they are. And they're usually all bad.
Yeah, it's a real roller coaster. But
Similar, but I like the fact that you are watching it on repeat, like you're watching it on replay, so you don't know the score, you don't know what's going on, so you know something's going to happen, and you just I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, but I mean, so it dropped last night. I think this new Sorare roadmap. They love a roadmap. Absolutely love a roadmap.
Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
Ow!
Roadhouse.
Plenty to dissect. I think should we, I guess, kick things off with the most topical issue that's going around at the moment. I know you've been heavily involved in some healthy conversations on Twitter.
Yeah.
Take us away with your initial thoughts on the Premier League $500,000 competition that is just taking the world by storm.
Well, quickly, just before we get into that, I would like to acknowledge that we dropped a little, video of our own last night. Obviously, kind of mocking the Sorare headquarters team and the fact that the decision-making process isn't all that crash hot of late. Not to be outdone, I think Nicholas took that personally, and he was like, "Oh, okay, fine, no worries. Here's like a great roadmap update that mostly everyone loves." So he just blew our little video out of the water, made us look foolish once again. So, but hey, I need to get some notifications that this stuff's coming, so we know when to post our shit.
Well, that's it. And I must say, this is the first time that I've actually been genuinely excited about a roadmap. I must say, like, a lot of the times I'm just like, I feel like it's a lot of fluff. It's a lot of extra stuff that they're throwing in. But this was the first time that I was like at work today, reading through it, checking out all the new stuff. And I was like, I'm actually really excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that I was getting into some Twitter spats. So I usually try and stay out of these Twitter conversations because it's everyone's just yelling into a bucket, No one's listening to one another. There's no constructive conversation of, hey, you got a good point there. It's just like, fuck you, you moron. This is how it is, obviously. So I usually try and stay out. I keep it pretty lighthearted. I'll throw something, a little jab out there somewhere, every now and then. But I usually, like, every now and then I'll have the message written out and I'll go, breathe and delete, breathe and delete, which is usually a very good strategy. This morning I was just like, yeah, I'm ready for war. Let's go.
It's £1 for a 5-minute argument, but only £8 for a course of 10.
And I felt the same as you. I read that roadmap and I was like, awesome. Like, cash tournaments. I mean, they just rolled that out with NBA and I thought that was really cool. They've got rid of that fitness thing that no one wanted anyway. Cap 220 month long, which I think that's kind of like the perfect competition for it because it's like, we can recap my Cap 270 nightmare, but I think 220 is one that more people can actually take part in without worrying about like sacrificing too many of their important cards. Rivals is coming, like all that stuff, and I'm like, they nailed it. Nothing too controversial. But no one's ever happy in the Sorare universe. Everyone's having a cry. Oh, you need me to buy 3 new cards to go in this tournament. Sorare is dead. All of the cards we've bought in the past are now useless. And it's just a bad take. I think people just like to whinge no matter what.
Yeah, and it's a thankless job as well, being Sorare headquarters, because either they're giving away too much and it's, or they're not giving away enough, or there's not enough competitions, it's too hard to win, so they make more competitions so it's easier for you to win, but then that's not okay. Like, it is a little bit confusing as what the people actually want. Like, what do you want from us?
What do you want? What do you want?
I mean, we've used this analogy in the past. It's a good analogy. Going on Twitter and moaning about Sorare, this platform that you have money invested in, moaning about it and spending your entire day trying to convince others how shit it is the equivalent of smashing your own taillights in. It just makes no sense. And there's certain people on Twitter, and again, I've tried to just walk away, and I just feel like they are specifically on Twitter to just piss everyone else off and constantly moan about Sorare, and today I snapped.
I love the fact that you've got nothing going on in your gallery at the moment, is now the time that you've become one of them, where you're just sitting behind the keyboard, like absolute keyboard warrior. I think you either need to buy some new cards or maybe get another hobby, because it was quite a shock. But I was oh, how's our Twitter channel going? And just like 15 comments, like, and it was just this long chain of just like, fuck you,
sir.
fuck you.
Yeah, well, hey, someone's got to be the villain. I enjoyed it. I was just sticking up for our boys at Sorare. I mean, to go back to a kind of more serious take on the whole controversy around the fact that you have to have some new cards to enter. At the end of the day, if Sorare fails as a business, we're all screwed. I don't think people seem to realize this. And it's like, we should be applauding them every time they come up with a smart and innovative way to get people to reinvest in the platform. Like, I know most people who have been on the platform for a few years, the mindset is, I've invested my money, I did well early on, now I just want to coast and try and just continue to churn from the cards I've got, which is fair enough. Fiscally, that's the responsible thing to do. Don't put any more money in if you don't have to. But at the end of the day, we shouldn't begrudge Sorare for pushing people to get their wallets out and get involved. You know, people were upset about the instant list. What's it called? Instant
List and play.
No, well, list and play, that was one. They've recently introduced the instant buy, where you can instantly buy cards from Sorare from the auction market. Did you see that?
I'm sorry, I've just got an email come through. Sorare.under is ranking very well in the Czech Republic.
Ooh.
This person's called Carlos. Hello, how's it going? Hope all is well. I have some cool information that might interest you. Your podcast, Sorare.under, has good performance in Apple Podcasts, ranking in the last 30 days. Position 13 in the category soccer in the Czech Republic. Position
made it!
Position 40 in the category soccer in Sweden. Position 67 in the category soccer, New Zealand.
Letting the Kiwis down.
So, very random. Sorry to derail that, but there you go.
No,
mate.
it's
Crack
good
it into the Czech market. That was always a goal of ours. We always said, we want to get the Australians on board first, maybe a few Americans and Englishmen, but then it's the Czechs. It's the Czechs we're after.
It would have made sense that, the Serbs, might have been on board after our brief foray into Kukariki.
Yeah.
Or the Chinese market after our dalliance with the Shenzhen FC boys last week. But Czech Republic, I'll take it.
Well, if we've got any Czech Republic listeners, I mean, leave a comment.
Shout out to you.
Yeah, because you're the real OGs. That's it.
Couldn't do it without you.
Sorry, Alistair. Back to our very serious
I'm always happy to be interrupted with news about our Czech Republic fans. So there's been a number of things that Sorare have done over the last however long to kind of try and stabilize things, and also pretty clearly just make more money for themselves. So they've introduced, if you missed it, instant buy, I think that's what they called it, where basically if there's a limited card on the market that you want, and the only cards available are on auction, or the ones that are on the secondary market are priced out of your range, Sorare now offers like instant buy cards. So they set a price based on, I guess, like current value. I'm not sure exactly how they calculate it, but it just means you pay a bit of a premium, you can have that card straight away. So if you see a Trent on auction and then there's one that's instant buy and it's an extra $5, you might just be like, I can't be bothered waiting and having the stress of the auction. I'm just going to pay the $5 to buy it. Obviously, Sorare, it's an extra revenue stream for them, but it's a service for us as well, because it means we can avoid auctions if we want to. Now, everyone's criticism was that was going to undercut the secondary market, but I think, it's all an ecosystem. And if people are buying cards and people are actively going out and spending money on Sorare, I think ultimately that's better for us in the long run than whether, Sorare beats you by 40 cents to a sale.
Yes. Yeah. And I would say, so I think where the argument is coming from in terms of this new Premier League competition is that the emphasis is now too heavily in the favor of new season cards. And I think, to be fair, we have seen quite a significant shift with these new first card owner bonuses. having like a collection of new season cards, you get quite a good bump from that. And I would say, like, for the first time, when I'm looking to buy cards, I'm now actively looking for the new season, and people are paying quite a bit more, like even in a limited market, like paying quite a bit more for these new season cards. Is this going to push it even further, on the scales in terms of, are people going to buy, old cards?
Yeah, look, I mean, I think it's certainly, like you said, there's a number of things now that make those new cards more desirable. So I think at the end of the day, if you want a card, it doesn't matter what year it's from. It really doesn't. Like if the name of, I guess it depends on what your strategy is. But if you need a card that fills a specific role in your gallery, if it's an old season card versus a new season, I don't think the difference is that much. From a normal competition point of view, let's forget this Premier League comp, because obviously it's a separate thing.
Yeah.
I don't. It's nice to get new season cards, but it's certainly not something that I'm like, unless I'm building a collection or I have a very specific strategy where I'm like, right, I want to get 15% bonus on these cards because my strategy is to stack and have a collection and all those things coming together. But I think for most people on the platform, they're not that strategic. They just buy 5 players that they want. And if they're old season cards, if you get it for a bit of a discount, some people are happy with that. So,
yeah, and I think we've spoken about this in the past as well, of the fact that at the end of the day, maybe at the top of the leaderboard, that couple of percent bonuses that they have on a new season card will make a difference. But the reality is, it's probably going to be the difference between a mid to low level tier 2 and a low level tier 2 at the end of the day.
There was a very good point made by AJ on Twitter, because obviously I spent today, trolling through Twitter all day. He made a very good point. He was like, the ecosystem is now as such that you have your old cards, or you buy old cards at a bit of a discount to win new cards. Because you don't win old cards, you win new cards. So you use your old cards to win new cards, which you can then use to win cash.
I'm just trying to understand here.
You can then enter them in those special comps. You can then take advantage of the, new season bonus. Like, if you use your 2020 Liverpool stack and you win a new season Joshua Kimmich, all of a sudden, you're in that new season game. So I think,
well, not for the Premier League, but
it depends on what your strategy is, and yes, it might mean that the value of your current old season cards goes down, but again, at the end of the day, maybe you should just spend a bit more money.
My fortune's not getting any bigger. It's just that amount of money that gets smaller till I die.
Well, I've also got a harsh reality, perhaps, is that in what world is it justifiable that your 2021 card is worth the same as a 2023-2024 card?
It's flippy. Like, you can do flippies with it.
Like it's the new card, it's the new season. So it's right, unless you've got like the original Hans Van Aken card, like it, of course that's going to be worth more. It's the new card, it's the new edition. It's like anything. Why is the FIFA 21 worth less than FIFA 23? Well, because we've played with that one for a while.
Exactly
we want
the same.
New.
Why is it less expensive? It's exactly the same game. I mean, you could say that about lots of things. iPhones, heaps of things.
Yeah, well, so I don't know. I feel like that's my 2 cents on it. But
I think people who have been on the platform for a little while, and Laird mentions this all the time, he's like, people who are starting Sorare now don't care. Like, they're not worried about card values necessarily. They are playing because it's a fun game, which is ultimately, and maybe those of us 2 years ago who thought we were going to the moon and it was never going to come down should have thought about this. They're going to release 100 cards of every player every year. Maybe things aren't going to keep going up forever. But at the end of the day, like, what was my point?
I don't know.
I had a point. I got derailed. Between Matt.
By now, I've just learned to switch off.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Speaking. I remember my point. I've switched off from my own point. So I was going to say, like, the way to make money on Sorare now, even if you're an old user and you've seen your gallery go down by half, the way to make money is to win more cards. It's the compounding interest of the cards that you've bought, even though they're older cards and they may have lost some value compared to new season ones. If you've got a good gallery, you should, and you are good at this game, you should be winning rewards relatively regularly. Again, new season cards, which you can then sell, reinvest, trade, do whatever you want. So I think people have this older mindset of like, you buy a card when they've just come back from injury and then their price just goes bonkers. Whereas, as we've spoken about many times in this podcast, that's not the way it works anymore. Good players usually hold their value pretty well. Shit players don't. They go through a spike in form, they might go up in price, then they go back down again. So I think if you're sitting around waiting for Sorare to make all of your cards more valuable, you're going to be very disappointed, and you should just focus on trying to play the game better.
Preach it,
Unlike
brother.
me. Yeah. I mean...
Hey, man. Woo!
Dude, yeah, I'm into it. I've convinced me. Let's go.
And also, I will just say, just to maybe wrap up the 500,000 Premier League to tie it all back in, I did see something where it was like, well, everyone's just going to be playing the Premier League and they're going to have their 3 cards. Everyone's going to be buying new cards. If everyone flocks to the Premier League competition and they're spending all their money on Premier League competition, go pick up some guns from older season cards, or you'll have less competition in the competitions that you're playing in, which means you're going to win more.
So I've noticed this in the NBA. So they're doing the end season tournament where they have cash prizes, and I'm currently in the process of like, I've got some ETH on the gallery. I'm looking to make some purchases. We'll talk about this in a bit, but everyone's getting rid of their old cards at a discount to free up some ETH, free up some cash to go and buy new season cards. And for someone like me, I'm like, okay, go and play that tournament. I want to play a contender team this week. I'll pick up those older season cards at a discount, and I'm good because I want to play and win cards. I think that's my best way to making money, as opposed to like trading or trying to win the big cash prizes. So you raise a very good point. There could be some absolute bargains on the market, for the next couple of weeks while people are focusing on this. By the way, it's not 500,000. That sounds really nice. Sounds like jackpot time, but it's like what, 5,000 a week or something? It's all split amongst the weeks and the tournaments. It makes it sound like you basically can be rich if you win this thing, which you can do very well, but they definitely made it sound better than it is.
Okay, I see. Now, can we talk about something that I'm very excited about? I must say, for the first time ever on my time on the platform, I feel like I could recommend Sorare to my friends, and I can be like, do you boys do you want to jump on, do you want to play? And it's the new Rivals feature, because I've had a lot of friends come and go. They're like, oh, that's interesting. Like, I'd love to get into it. And I'm like, don't do it. Like, obviously I want to encourage them, but in a way I'm like, probably,
That's why we haven't been getting any Sorare sponsorship. God damn it.
I'm blocking all the new users.
Oh, man. No wonder Nicholas hasn't been in touch.
But like, in terms of just like, I think it's now better than ever in terms of the onboarding and that transition. And it was today we started our very first Rivals comp between the two of us. Obviously still in the beta at the moment. And you had a super rare Gustavo Bow. And I went, what the hell? How come he gets extra points? And you beat me because you had this super rare. And I also took on a match against Hoodwink. And I think he might have had a limited or something like that. And I lost by a few points. And I got it. I was like, here's the bait. And I'm a big hungry fish, and I want to take it and gobble it right up. Like, I can totally
want that reputation, don't you? You want it. You need it. You crave it. I tried to tell you.
Do you want it? Do you want it? No! What?
No. Yes. I can see that of like, you're up against your mates, all of a sudden you buy a couple of limiteds and you've got an edge, and then they buy a couple of limiteds, and then, oh, hang on, he gets a rare, and then, I love it. I'm a big fan.
Mate, I mean, they've hit the nail on the head. They've gamified it. I don't know the full ins and outs of it. Like you said, we've just played the beta version, but they've got like rankings, and depending on how much of the little zappy points you have, that determines like whether you're a pro or an awesome guy or a lord or a messiah or whatever the rankings are. Like you get these, and I told you, I knew it, that people were going to fight tooth and nail to get that rep, climb those rankings. And I must admit today, even though it's just I'm sure they'll wipe everyone's reputation before they actually roll it out, up against the guys, that are in that beta version, I was like, God damn it, I lost that one. Like, I'm furious at myself for not winning. And you're right. Like, and this is where I guess the genius of it all is, you can now instant buy cards from Sorare. So if I'm your mate and you've taken me to the pub and you've got your lineup of 5 Liverpool players, all limited, and he's got his, and they're all commons, and he's like, oh, you've got a 20% bonus. And you go, well, yeah, you need to buy limited. If he's that way inclined and he just wants to buy it online with his credit card through the app, he can just instantly buy those cards. He doesn't have to go and negotiate with the manager, doesn't have to wait for an auction to finish. He can just go, fuck you, but, I bought my 5-man stack, let's go.
100%. It's right there. Like we said, no one takes your laptop to the pub with the boys. It's got to be on the phone. It's got to be quick. It's got to be easy. Yep. I'm going to be honest, when you first were talking about the instant buy element, I was a bit like, oh, okay. But that's such a good point. Like, you want to be able to get people in that 5-minute window when they're like, oh, well, I'll take you on. Because as soon as you have to wait for someone to get back to you, you have to wait for an auction, that's gone. That moment's gone. And I also love, like, obviously they're going to be doing some fine tuning, but the way it was set out, like, very easy to navigate. It had, like, if they were starting, once the team had come in, which is massive, because I tried to pick Kai Wagner and then I realized that he had like an X next to him and I was like, oh shit, there's an actual thing where it says like starting, and all those things make a big difference. It's huge.
Come on, that Kai Wagner racist joke is hilarious. You haven't been keeping up with it, I'm assuming. You have no idea what I'm talking about, do you?
No, what happened to Kai Wagner? Oh, shit. Racist. Yeah. Yep. That's why he was out.
Racism based.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's very exciting. I think on the navigation front, I mean, they're still testing it out, obviously. There's a few things where I was like, I don't know where to go to see like how I'm traveling, in the game week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited for it. And going back to like these people complaining about Sorare pushing, trying to get people to buy directly from them. Yes, obviously we want our card values to go up, but we've always said, like, at the end, like, when you were in the limiteds now, so you're probably out of this, but like any of those of us with rares, unique, super rares, if this platform grows and there's 5 million, 10 million users over the next couple of years, those rares and super rares are going to go up in value just purely based on scarcity. And I think this is there's a good chance that if there's, my super rares, if they're good players, will go up in value if the number of users goes up by 10.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway. Great
Matt. But the whole point is like, people were like, oh, Sorare's being so greedy. They're putting these cards up for instant sell. But if you take a mate to the pub and you introduce him to Sorare and he's just like, oh, yeah, I'll pay $200 to have a better team than you. And they start to get hooked on it. If that's a guy with somewhat deep pockets.
What this? What this one? This one?
It's not going to take long before he goes, oh, if you got rares, you can hit a $50 threshold every week, or you got super rares, you can get $200. Like, that attraction to move up the scarcities will be there for those people that can afford it. And by getting people in at the entry level, which is what I think Rivals will do, that's the ticket to the growth overall of the platform. So all these people who are like shitting on, you don't say pooing, do you?
No.
Shitting somehow better. Who are shitting on Sorare for like being greedy. It's like we kind of need them to be greedy in some ways if we want to benefit in the long run.
Boy, there's no real easy way to say this, but you're a simp.
I agree, and that's we've harped on for ages about The whole onboarding process, the old common system didn't really work. The only reason we're hooked is because we were in that initial
Yeah.
wave of excitement and growth and
We thought we were going to
return
be
on
millionaires.
investment. What was that, sorry?
We thought we were going to be millionaires by 2024.
That's it. And I think we've just had to take a step back, reassess. In the current landscape, in the current world that we live in, what's a feasible way for Sorare to move forward? And I think you're very naive if you think that we just keep doing what we've been doing and things are miraculously going to turn around, because I don't think they will.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's only a good thing, and the fun element can't be understated as well. Like, Sorare is fun. Don't get me wrong. I look forward to submitting my lineups every week. We have a fucking podcast about it. But there are some limitations, like having to wait for the game. You know, you put your lineup in on a Friday, and then your game's not till Tuesday. That sucks. Having DNPs because you didn't know that a guy was out with the flu. That sucks. Like, there's elements of the actual game that aren't fun. And with the rivals, it's all fun, especially if you can, which I noticed from playing that, you know how we were looking at the new layout and there was like manager assistant, and I was like, I wonder what this is for. So I've been like collecting coins. I know you don't like the coins, but I've been collecting coins. Let's have a look. I'll see if I've got any more.
And also, while you're doing that, I think the fact that you can do like the tactic and that can give you extra points, brilliant.
Yeah, that was cool.
Fantastic.
That was very cool. So there's my little Zappy rank. Okay, so the manager assistant. So you can see here, I referred you to play Rivals, 600 coins. I played 10 arena games, 300 coins. I'm sure there'll be coins for winning or coins for getting certain scores. I'm hoping that they somehow bring in some kind of other rewards based on the Rivals thing. Like, I don't know how you would do it, whether it's like, if you can get to 500 Zappies, you win a limited, or I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think this could be the progress bar kind of poking its head back into the picture a little bit. And I think that's really fun as well. The fact that you can pick any game as well, and you can be like, Simon, we're off to watch, Melbourne City versus Sydney FC because the A-League's onboarded. It's 2024. Everyone's happy.
Can somebody please tell me when is A-League?
We go to the game, line it up. We get the lineups. I can play you. I can play all my mates. Like that. I do think this is a bit of a game changer.
Yeah, and I mean, what are you going to do with all those coins, Alistair? Are you going to be able to buy so many jerseys? With all those coins, you could buy so many mystery jerseys. I'm telling you. Just log on time.
I don't know if you saw my Twitter post about the guy who has created a bot to get the jerseys, and I mean we made fun of it in our video about the fact that the jerseys don't exist. Just be honest with us, guys. The jerseys don't exist. Because you and I were both online for the latest jersey drop. Refresh, buy, sold out. It just isn't possible. So you're right there. Until there's something for the coins to be...
mate. The Romanian internet is just far too superior. I've been saying it for weeks. We don't stand a chance.
Romania. Timeless home of this thing. Dracula.
Hi!
Fast horses, fast horse cars, and a faster average internet speed than Australia.
Australia's internet sucks!
Ban all Romania.
No. So, yeah. So you raise a very good point. There needs to be some things in the shop that you can buy with the coins, because if there is, and it's somewhat attainable, people will be playing Rivals all the time.
Yes, yeah. No, I love it. I think, could not sing its praises any louder. The other element as well is private leagues. Now, I haven't been able to dip my toe in the water there yet, but I reckon this is going to be great. I reckon, because when you're playing Sorare, I feel like you and I might be in a unique situation where we obviously knew each other pretty well before we both started playing Sorare, I guess you could say.
Known you for ages.
Yeah, go way back. But I think, for a lot of people,
brother from another mother.
That's why the Sorare community is so strong, because you want to share it with people. Sorare is not fun if you're just doing it by yourself. That's why the Sorare community is so great. but I feel like the rivals element brings in what you and I have of like being with your mates, watching games live together. And I feel like if you combine what's already great with an online community, put that into the physical form, and yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, that it took me by surprise how much I cared about beating some of the guys that we know, like in the Discords. Like I beat Black today. He had his Santos Laguna stack, all like super rares and rares. I just had my common Monterey boys, didn't even have faces, and I beat him, and it felt so good. And then I think I lost to like, who did I lose to? I lost to someone else in the community, and I was like, it really hurt me.
Wow.
So-
Like our very own underdog story.
Yeah.
The commons prevailed.
So the private leagues, I'm not sure how it's going to work in that, like, you can pick any game of the game week. So I don't know how you'd like keep a ladder, but I guess it's just the like reputation points. So you enter in more games, you enter in more arenas. I don't know. They'll figure all that out, but you've heard it here first. The Sorare DownUnder League will definitely be up and running as soon as Rivals is launched. I'm not sure how many people will let in. Maybe we'll have a competition, a fight to the death. But yeah, it's going to happen. Can't wait.
Yeah, I reckon that's absolute game changer. We can be completely embarrassed by everyone else. It'll be great. Yeah. I must say as well, like on top, like this announcement's come. Like I said, it'd been a pretty quiet couple of weeks. I feel like the footballing world at the moment's in such a good spot. Like we've got, Champions Leagues going on, Premier Leagues happening, MLS playoffs. Melbourne City's playing, Bali United. And of course, also we've got, probably one of the most beloved leagues in all the lands, the Chinese Super League. Can we talk about our Underdog boys for a little bit? I mean, yeah.
Just quickly, before we talk about the Shenzhen FC legends, I'm just going to do something about this lighting because it's for anyone who's watching. It's like the sun is setting here, so I'm just going into more and more of a cave, and this light is really it's vibing me up. So I'm going to see if I can do something about it. Oh, yeah, that Inter Miami jersey really gives you the complexion of some aged salmon.
Yeah, that's what I was going for, so that's good. Well, I've planned that segue. I planned that segue all week, and I was so proud of it, and you've just completely derailed it within 1 second.
You want to try it again?
No. No. You ruined it.
They're really good at building walls. It's China. Yeah, Shenzhen FC. Okay, so the Underdogs have let us down once more. We're 2 for 2 so far. Chukaritsky, 6-0 thrashing. Not great. Shenzhen FC, 3-0 demolishing. So yeah, we really can't pick them. I mean, we're just picking literally the worst team every week, so we can't be too surprised. But it was quite interesting learning about Shenzhen FC. Didn't know that Gary Chandling was the owner. Didn't know they've been through so many rebrands. But yeah, I guess it's time to move on from Shenzhen FC. They're dead to us.
They are. Will an Underdog ever win, Ulster? Because at this point, a goal would be nice. A goal would be great.
Do we need to lower our expectations? No, I think we've got to stick with this because it's going to it's like the game of soccer. People complain, how can you go and watch a game where the end scoreline is 1-0? I mean, that's not exciting. Yes, but the expectation that is placed on that one goal is so great, and the release of pressure when that ball hits the back of the net is so great. And that's what makes football the best sport in the world. And that's what makes the Underdog such a special thing. If we can finally get a win, my God, it's going to be special.
It will. I mean, have we got an Underdog for this upcoming game week? Are we, Shenzhen's in the past?
This is the fun part, is that I don't do any prep for this whatsoever. It's so you should be able to see my Sorare data screen.
I can, yes.
Okay, so let's have a look. So, games. Matchups. Okay, now I've got to make sure I get the right week this week. 423. Okay, so the team with the lowest win percentage. Ooh, this could be interesting.
Uh-oh.
This could be very interesting. Oh no, I thought we had Heidenheim, but it's not. It's Arlesund. Wow, okay. I thought we were going to be behind the Heidenheim boys, which would have been very exciting because Heidenheim, I don't think they're going to beat Bayern Munich, but from all accounts, Heidenheim, like, throw some shit around. They don't defend at all. They're just goals, goals, goals. So, but nevertheless, we forget Heidenheim. It's all about Arlesund.
Arlesunds vernoot. Arlesunds topvoetbalclub. We spelen voetbal op maandag och fiska på zondag. In mellomlagen we tappen ook zeer gone in 60 seconds. Arlesunds mascot een salted sild. Och vi har en heinking Helga under 93. In 2018 kom Greta Thunberg un kampon i een jumbojet. Etappele et snickers omslag på bakken het lokal sedunge bla nesten kvalte hel. Arlesund spiller mandag mot det beste laget. Vil vi vinne eller da? Arlesunds.
So it's a bit of like a San Jose kind of vibe, just like pushing both centre backs forward. Does it? What was the percentage? Was it 4% and 5% win rate?
4% was Arlesund's and 5% was Heidenheim, and 5% is not good enough. We want the underdog of all underdogs. So
I'm gonna rebut against that. Before we get into this team, I don't know where this is from. I would argue that at least Heidenheim has Sorare players. And should we win, would it be good to have a team that's like somewhat relevant? No offense to
I mean, if you look at our previous two teams, they maybe had one Sorare player. So
okay.
I personally don't think it matters. I think we've got to go with the biggest underdogs, and that's these guys, Arlesunds.
Do you know where they're from?
Well, they play in the Elite Syrian, which I believe is Norway.
Right. Okay.
Let's have a look. Right. Look, don't get me wrong. I want to be able to follow a team that actually like plays on Sorare more than anyone, but I'm also a purist.
I just think that Heidenheim fit an underdog character because they're not given a chance, but my God, they have a crack. You know, they're pinging balls around, and I feel like that, you know, that's what underdogs are all about. You know?
I think Arlesund have a chance. They're up against Bodo Glimt this week. You know, who we all know Bodo Glimt.
Well, yeah.
Powerhouses.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's have a look. Okay. They're up against Bodo Glimt, who are top of the table, and they do seem to win a lot. They've only lost 3 games all year, whereas Arlesund have only won 3 games all year. But they have won 3 games. I believe Shenzhen hadn't won anything. So
yeah, they were.
they were bad. And I mean, it wouldn't be... We've also got to make sure that this is actually possible should they win.
Also, their past
jerseys everywhere.
2 of their past 3 wins, 2 of their 3 wins have come in the past 4 weeks.
There you go. They're a team in form.
Yeah.
They're a team in form. I like it. And
This is bizarre.
It's bizarre every week, but I tell you what, we are learning about the footballing world more than anyone. Okay, we're deep in Norway right now. Vindas Club. 1,000 kroner, that sounds cheap.
I can't wait to get a Czech team. That'll be fantastic.
Well, here we go. Jerseys, just 649 kroner. These aren't jerseys. This is just basic Umbro training gear.
Some gloves.
They haven't even got team gear. They're just playing home brand. Yikes! I don't speak Norwegian, but we'll figure it out. But I'm sure we can track down a jersey if we need to. But look, I'm actually quietly confident about Arlesund. I think end of the season, you know, Bodo Glimt might be resting all the superstars. You know, your Janssens, your Johanssons, your Nordriksons, the big names. And Arlesund might just sneak a little end of season win. Maybe they've got a new coach. They're on a new coach run. We'll find out.
Yeah. Okay. And if it's a draw, are they still dead to us?
Oh, that's if we haven't even talked about draws. We never thought that far ahead, did we?
No.
I don't think a draw's enough. It has to be a win.
I think that a draw, though, they're not dead to us, but we're just trying to move on. You know, we don't want to hold ourselves back from future. We want to play the field.
We will think of them fondly in future game weeks, whereas I don't even remember the last two teams that we went for. They're dead to us, so
exactly.
I will never pay attention to them again in my life.
Cool.
But Alison, if they manage to scrape a draw, we'll think about them from time to time. Christmas card, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good to get that out of the way, just in case of the unlikely event of a draw. Obviously, we're going for the win.
Up because if there was a draw on the weekend, we would just gone into panic mode. We didn't talk about this.
Just get rid of the podcast. Just call it quits. Okay, if they win, we'll get a bunch of home brand training kit. Saw there's some gloves there. That'll be my there's my Christmas list sorted.
Yep.
So yeah, okay. All right, Underdogs, we'll give it another run, which we will. We'll back the Underdogs, but I just want to let the public know that a little bit of me is getting behind Heidenheim. Just a little bit.
You're more than welcome to, Simon, but they aren't Underdogs. They're just a shit team.
Ooh, burn!
Yeah, well, I think that pretty much wraps up what's been, I would say, one of the biggest eps of the year, I would say. Is that a fair statement? I feel like there's been a lot to discuss.
Oh, I mean, it's always a pretty grand event, one of our episodes, but certainly a big... It's funny. There's been a lot of reaction to the announcement, but nothing that crazy has actually been announced. Like, it's a new tournament. That's cool. Rivals, they didn't really announce anything. They're just like, it's coming, which is great. So not the biggest announcement, but certainly got people going.
I think it's not the announcement itself, I guess. It's just where I think Sorare is heading. I think all the new features, has got me more excited about Sorare than ever. And I also just want to quickly add, I don't think it's a coincidence that I'm feeling like super engaged with the platform and enjoying my Sorare more than I ever have since making the move into the limiteds. Like, I cannot stress enough. Like, I'm not saying everyone should drop down into another lower tier, but
do it.
Like, the fact that I've been watching all my games, watching all of my players, I can buy and sell players that I want, players that I know. I've never really had that on Sorare, and I've still loved it, but it's just, I don't know. A few people were saying, you're not going to be winning very often, you're not going to be winning good cards, you're going to hate it, but I don't know. I'm very content boy at the moment.
I like it. I still think that we need to introduce some kind of I think we should call it the lunch wheel. And when we will make a wheel that I will keep in my house, and we'll put a bunch of different lunch options on there, ranging from maybe $10 to $25. And when you win a card that is within that price range, we spin the wheel, and then you sell that card, withdraw that money, and then go and buy that lunch.
No, but Alistair, sorry to burst your bubble, but that doesn't make any sense. If you've got the $25 bracket on the wheel, but you win only a $10 card, how can you spin the wheel? Because if it lands on the $25 option, you don't have $25.
Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't have put the brackets in there, but let's just say lunch options. They're all around the same. So it's a burrito. Okay.
Yeah.
You won a card that's worth $15 US. That's 28 Australian dollars. You can buy lunch with that. Spin the wheel. If it's higher than that, obviously, it's kind of outside of the lunch range. You probably want to reuse that card or reinvest. Anything lower, keep it for your Cap 240 team. I wouldn't sell that. But if it hits that lunch range, we spin the wheel.
Okay, so my tier 3 limited I won the other week. I sold my new season card.
For how much?
It was €10, so $15.
That's spin the wheel.
That's a zinger box. That's a
zinger box. There you go.
If I land on a zinger box, that's where the fun is.
Perhaps. So, just hear me out here. I'm getting excited about this idea. You win a reward. Yeah. It's a tier 3. It's a tier 4. We already know it's probably in the lunch range. You open that reward. We can set some very strict price guidelines around how much value that card has to have for it to activate the lunch wheel. If you're opening your reward, we check that value, Ding, ding, ding. It's in the lunch range. Spin the wheel. Is that not the most exciting content you've ever heard of?
I think we should wrap up the app right now, and I'm just going to go make my lunch wheel and start planning the options because I
can
think
do
nothing
the super
better.
rares, and if I win a tier 4 super rare and it's worth $200, we can spin the drugs wheel.
Yeah, just some heroin this week,
All right,
Yeah.
cocaine. Good stuff.
It's good that you're not doing the lunch wheel though, Alistair, because you could get very hungry by the time you actually get around to selling your super rares.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But then when I do, my God, it's going to be a feast.
That's true. All right, well, we'll catch you guys all later next week. Shout out to our Czech listeners out there, wherever you are.
We love you.
Going strong. And New Zealand, we're coming for you. We're going to get into that demographic very, very shortly.
You may
We
not
can
love
promise
us
you
yet,
that.
but you will. You will.
Yeah. All right. Catch you next week, guys. See ya.
Lunch wheel.